This is the all-new Fanatec CSL Cockpit, and that's right, Fanatec is back in the sim racing cockpit game and is starting with an entry-level offering with this unit right here. Aimed towards the entry-level market but designed for even Fanatec's highest-end offerings, the CSL Cockpit promises a lot for a $400 rig, but doesn't live up to the hype. Fanatec have sent this rig over to me along with the seat, monitor stand, and shifter mount, and so today I'll be putting it all to the test, telling y'all my experience, including the good, the bad, and whom this offering may be for. Also, keep in mind that if you are interested in purchasing this or any other Fanatec product, using my affiliate links in the video description massively helps me out at zero extra cost to you. But with that said though, let's get started by talking about this product's pricing. Looking for great deals on sim racing hardware? Make sure to check out simspots.com, where all of the best deals on sim racing, PC, and gaming peripherals are posted daily. Literally, the site is completely free to use, free of ads, and just lets you know of discounted sim racing hardware for you to save some cash. Get into sim racing or upgrade your gear today at simspots.com. You see, just a bit ago, I said this cockpit retails for $400. However, what you're seeing on screen right now will actually set you back $660 and probably closer to $700 after taxes and shipping. For $400, Fanatec is offering the CSL chassis, adding an additional $100 for the optional seat, another $120 for the integrated monitor mount, and $40 more for the shifter mount. So altogether, this adds up to be more of a mid-range sim racing cockpit. Granted, at its $660 price, it does come with a seat and an integrated monitor stand, something comparable aluminum profile rigs at this price point usually don't do. So price in mind, let's get started with what's good about this rig, which actually surprised me in many ways I wasn't expecting. From my experience with the CSL Cockpit, there is a lot of good worth talking about, starting with the packaging. Coming in 4 boxes, each pertaining to their individual product, every single component of this rig came neatly packed and without a scratch. Compared to other rigs which sometimes come in a million boxes with nuts and bolts flying around, this was great to see. All put together and set up, I'm also pleasantly surprised by the design and look of this rig, which honestly, though nothing crazy, does look very sleek and modern. The yellow accents pop out, the Fanatec branding can be seen, the seat has matching yellow stitching, and the monitor mount looks surprisingly cool. So compared to rigs at this price range, which tend to look like lawn chairs or have a pole running in between your legs, I think this one does a great job when it comes to design. It's also very much worth noting that this rig is quite light and compact in size, making it great for a bedroom setup or for use in places with limited space, albeit it cannot be folded up and stored like many similarly priced competitors. Though not extensive, some adjustability is also available with the CSL Cockpit. Fitted with a GT driving position, you can also get a karting feel by inverting the wheelbase brackets. Forward and backward movement as well as tilt adjustability are available on the pedal deck, and the seat can also move a few inches back and forth, albeit the seat movement is very limited. Similar adjustability is found on the shifter and wheelbase mount with the angle and distance. Jumping out on track with the new 12Nm Fanatec Club Sport DD attached, the rigidity on the wheel mount here left me extremely surprised. Though this cockpit undoubtedly looks a bit flimsy, once it's side mounted onto my wheelbase, it wasn't going absolutely anywhere. Maxed out, the 12Nm Club Sport DD stayed perfectly in place with maybe a tad visible movement, but absolutely nothing that hindered my in-game performance. Surprisingly, Fanatec also states that this rig can withstand the likes of even their most powerful 20+ Nm wheelbases, something which is shocking for a rig in this segment. The included shifter mount also stayed fairly sturdy, with some visible movement when purposefully yanking on it, but no impactful flex when normally using my H-pattern shifter out on track. Through 1 to 2 hour race sessions, the $99 CSL seat wasn't bad either. It's made of fabric with supported foam cushioning, giving you a decent enough feel. With no substantial lumbar or neck support though, I personally wouldn't feel comfortable sitting on it for extended periods of time, but this part is subjective. Ultimately, for a seat of this price point, it's not going to turn any heads, but it doesn't look too bad either. Although I do wish a logo or just something was added onto the back of the seat to give it something to kind of stand out. Though slightly pricey at $120, I'm also easily able to recommend the monitor stand. Not only does it look very cool, but it also does a great job, in my case holding up my large and heavy Samsung Odyssey Super Ultra Wide display. I was able to get this mounted to the exact position I wanted with substantial tilt and height adjustability, and it has seemingly handled the weight of my monitor without breaking a sweat. Now, though I've had a general smooth experience with the Fanatec CSL Cockpit, not all was great, and on that note, it's worth talking about the not so good. Starting off, one of the main hassles I found with this rig was the difficulty of making adjustments. With no included seat slider and needing to use 2 individual wrenches to make practically any adjustment anywhere, this is one of those rigs that is intended for a single person to use without needing to constantly be making adjustments. So for example, if you're a father who wants to let his young son also race, this probably isn't the best choice, as needing to spend several minutes readjusting everything time after time will quickly become unbearable. On many instances, such as on the seat, the level of adjustability is also fairly limited in terms of its front to back movement, and it's for this reason, along with the fact that Fanatec gives no indication of what user heights and weights are supported, that I would be skeptical of going with this rig if you're either very tall or very short. I'm kind of in the middle ground, so it was perfect for me. Perfect for me was also the ability to get in and out of it, but since it is nearly on the floor, this may be harder and a serious consideration for some of you. Thankfully, I'm still fairly young and able, so here are a few clips of me proving just that. Now, and I'm sure this will be a huge shocker to many since it was a huge shocker to me, and that is that the Fanatec CSL Cockpit is actually only designed to be used with modern Fanatec wheelbases that support side mounting, and any other sim racing wheelbase from any other brand is very likely to not work with this chassis. And Fanatec, they also don't endorse it. The reason for this could be because Fanatec designed this product from the ground up for maximum rigidity for their exact wheelbases, but it also makes you wonder if they're just trying to lock you into their ecosystem, and the answer is probably yes. Now, if you're a Fanatec customer, this isn't really a bad thing, as ultimately you are getting maximum performance for your wheelbase, but at the same time, if you ever upgrade your wheelbase to another brand or try to sell this rig as used, you're probably gonna be out of luck. Now, as per the shifter plate, although it did do its job well, it unfortunately is also very small, and in my case was only able to mount one shifter in it with no accompanying handbrake. Out of coincidence, this works great for the Fanatec Clubsport shifter owners who can directly mount the Fanatec handbrake onto the side of it and thus use both of them with this cockpit. But if that's not you, then you're gonna have to choose in between using a handbrake or a shifter. At this point, some of you have probably wondered why I haven't mentioned the pedal deck, and that's because it wasn't too great from my experience. The way part of the flex you see on screen is probably because the chassis would sink into my carpeted floor. There was more visible flex than I was expecting to see, especially when purposefully slamming on the brake with a lot of force. In many cases, I found myself needing to go back in and retighten everything, but even with all that, some fairly moderate amount of flex was seen here, but I will admit that it didn't have too big of an impact on me in game. Ultimately though, any movement here is not a good thing, and certainly something I didn't really like to see. So all in all, the Fanatec CSL Cockpit is a very unique offering by the company and the start of its lineup of sim racing rigs, which I know they're planning on releasing more of. I think there are many things this rig does a good job at and really left me impressed, as well as a few aspects which could use some improvement. In my opinion, if you already have a seat, can mount a monitor on a desk, and only need the $400 chassis to use along with your Fanatec Trak Racer wheelbase, this is a strong contender. However, if you're starting from the ground up, will be spending $660 for a decked out unit like the one I have here and want to share it with others at home, there are probably better options considering your unique circumstance. It's for this reason that it's worth looking at your unique situation, seeing what else is in the market, and determining how the positives and negatives that I brought up in this review relate to you. But with that said, let me know your thoughts on the brand new Fanatec CSL Cockpit down below. And as always, thank you all for watching, stay safe, and have a fantastic rest of your day.